So welcome to my YouTube channel, the SNS Cricket Diaries. As you all know that I have been here at the beautiful and picturesque Milton Abbey School. Yesterday I shot a video in which I showed you the ground in its beauty and the background, in the background the lush green trees and the outfield that we saw and the pitch as well. Today I have with me the man who makes it possible along with his team each and every day to keep cricket on in this beautiful ground. I have with me the headmaster of the Milton Abbey School, Mr. James Watson. Hello, Mr. James. Thank you so much for your time.
Hello, Sid. Thank you for having me on.
How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, very well. It's a beautiful evening at Milton Abbey. The sun is shining.
Yeah.
The cricket pitch is hard, so that's great. And we're enjoying our cricket.
Fantastic. So, Mr. James, I would like to know firstly, how is the Milton Abbey School in terms of its cricket, and what kind of activities related to cricket take place here?
We take cricket at Milton Abbey very seriously, but we also think it's a great way for students to have fun, to connect with each other, to build a community around. And personally, I'm biased. I grew up playing and watching cricket. I think it's the very best sport in the world. But we offer about 35 sports across the campus. Cricket is just one of them. And as you've seen from your videos before, we just have the most beautiful setting for a wonderful cricket pitch. We're lucky here. We're in a valley with no neighbours. We have no noise. We have nothing gets in the way of playing spectacular games of cricket in the most beautiful setting. And also when you look at this pitch, because it's cut into a hillside, it drains very, very well. So for a pitch in southern England, it's incredibly dry, which is key when you're here, because as you know, we have quite a lot of rain here, which can affect your cricket, especially early in the season. We're also incredibly lucky to have a spectacular grounds team, including Mr. Joe Cooper, who's been here 36 years. And I think he's one of the most expert groundskeepers for cricket in British schools. He's often asked by other schools and other pitches to go out and show them how it's done. But I think you played on this, Sid, last night for a few overs.
Yes.
And for a school ground, it's absolutely spectacular.
Fantastic. So we are here at the side of the pitch itself. As you can see here, it's covered with a bit of grass, and so that sort of gives a bit of advantage to the bowlers, which is something we expect here in England. It's usually you have bowler-friendly conditions, and as I see you and take you around this beautiful and majestic ground, I take you back to Mr. James Watson. So, Mr. James, we spoke a little bit about cricket the other day when you took us to that wonderful pub and the beautiful walk through the forest. So I would like to know, recently, England has been playing baseball cricket and some wonderful cricketers have emerged. But growing up, who were your favorite English cricketers and even non-English cricketers, if you could tell me?
I think my seminal cricket moments were the late 80s, early 90s. So I have my heroes are what I call the moustache era of cricket, right? So in the England team, you got people like Graham Gooch, Alan Lamb, and I particularly remember the Ashes series. I think it was of 92 or 93. And you had wonderful characters like David Boone, like Merv Hughes, who were, to me, growing up in London, they were sensationally exotic. And I think back then that Australian team, which came up under Alan Border, played a kind of hard cricket that then led to the era of the War Brothers and real dominance for what I saw about 10 years. And I just thought, as a kid, I thought they played cricket in a really hard, kind of frenetic, aggressive way that we didn't play in England at that time. And therefore, we were second best a lot of the time. Yes. But I enjoyed the sense that the Australians gave of camaraderie and of giving everything, leaving everything on the pitch, but doing it as well with humour. Which I think at times cricket has become so professional these days. They were still in that era where you could aspire to be like them, because they had almost this sense of another life away from cricket. They were a bit more human, if you know what I mean. And they didn't spend so much time floating between different competitions in different continents. So I had a lot of respect for them, and I like them through to today. They're some of the best commentators, I think, on cricket that are still out there.
Absolutely, Mr. James. And the fact that you talked about the Aussie dominance in the mid-90s, and a lot of heartbreaks for English cricket fans throughout the late 80s and throughout the 90s and early 2000s as well, if I may say. A lot of heartbreaks in Ashes cricket. So hence when the 2000...
It was very hard growing up being an England cricket fan, right, for my era.
I can understand, yes. So and exactly for that reason, Mr. James, when the 05 Ashes happened and Michael Vaughan's English team finally defeated the Aussies to win that little piece of urn, and such huge celebrations that took place. Where were you at that point of time in your life in 05, and what were your reactions, if you remember? How did you feel winning the Ashes back after almost 18 years?
Okay, I still remember that moment at the Oval very well, because I was in my early 20s and I had an accountancy exam the day after it finished. And I remember sitting with my father. We watched every ball of the Test match, as a lot of people around the world did. And I said to my father at one stage, I think I need to go and do some revision for my tax exam. And he said, son, the tax exam can wait. We could be on the verge of winning the first Ashes of your lifetime. I would keep watching. So I kept watching. Thankfully, I scraped my tax exam by 1% the next day.
Wonderful.
But it was a huge moment. Again, in my early 20s, I'd never seen anything like that. We used to watch videotape of, the heroics from the late 70s. But we really had nothing in our own lives to think about too much.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, that was fantastic. And now the English team of late in the last few years has completely transformed, Mr. James. We had captains like Andrew Strauss, Alistair Cook, and now, of course, Ben Stokes with the Bazball era. Firstly, what do you make of this whole Bazball era? Is it something of a media gimmick, or do you think there's more substance to it? And then, later on, would like to know your opinion about the upcoming 2 major test series that are coming up. One is against India in England, and one is the Ashes Down Under. So, firstly, what's your take on the whole Bazball thing?
So I'm a traditionalist as a cricketer. I love the test match format, and that's how I was brought up. At school when I played, I was an opener, and I like a good forward defensive. I also like a good leave outside the off stump. You got to pick the balls that you hit. I think it's natural, though, that where the game's gone, and especially in this media age where all games are chasing eyeballs and they're chasing the youth market, I can understand that long-form cricket doesn't appeal to everyone. And I think the administrators in many ways have done a good job bringing in younger people, bringing in women, bringing in all cultures to try and keep cricket at the pinnacle of sport. For Bazball, when I first saw it, my initial reaction was, what on earth is this? But I have huge respect for the management team of England and for Ben Stokes of bringing it in, and I think pulling it off. Okay, it doesn't always work, but they've been very open that they knew it wouldn't always work. But I think if you look across the results, overall, it really has worked. And it's fascinating to watch. Fascinating. And it's given the test game, especially the test game, but it's given it a whole new edge. It makes people really think. I think when they're playing England now, other teams have to really go about their tactics in quite a different way. And it'll be interesting to see if it spreads more to other test nations. Obviously, the impact of IPL, the impact of the short form game. I mean, we see it here, right, in school matches. When we're playing a long form school match, I often say to some of the players, please don't play across the line for your first few overs. Just pad out, leave the ball, just get in. That's the old way of playing. too often, I think kids today come in, first ball, they try and hike it for a boundary. They get out, they say, well, sir, you know, no risk, no reward. And I say, well, you know, baseball has its place. But yeah, I'm in awe of what the England team and the management have done the last few years, and they've injected new life into the game in England. So I'm interested to see how it pans out for the rest of the world.
Absolutely. So moving forward, the Indian team is about to come to England for a 5-test series. We haven't won here in the last almost 20 years. The last time India won in England was in 2007, when we still had the likes of Sachin Tendulkar, Saurav Ganguly, Rahul Dravid was still there playing. So how do you see the Indian team now without Virat and Rohit? A new captain in Shubman Gill. So what chances do you give this Indian team?
Well, so for us in England, I think everyone has huge amounts of respect for Virat. You know, what he's achieved, again, at the pinnacle of one of the hardest sports in the world, is truly amazing. So I think everyone here is very interested to see how this essentially new management team will react. And as you said earlier, playing in England, grassy wickets, you know, it's very moist now. You can feel it in the air, especially on this ground. You can get a lot of swing. And a lot of players from overseas find it quite difficult to tour in England. Having said that, I'm a huge fan of India, always have been. I think I told you earlier, my family at different times have all lived in India, so we have huge respect for the country. And I think, you know, you are the number one cricket base in the world. It doesn't matter really what the test standings are telling me. India is the cricket nation. And I know that you've got a lot of interest in the Ashes. But for me, if you can beat India, and especially beat India in India, that is one of the keys to this sport. So it'd be really interesting to see how this series pans out this summer. We're all very excited about it.
And then moving ahead to the Ashes, I know it's still a few months away, but do you think in any which way the performance of the English team in the Test series against India would determine the kind of morale they go into in the Ashes, or do you think that really doesn't matter? And how much do you count this English team in terms of the Ashes itself?
I think it always matters what you've done in your last series. It informs your selection. It gives confidence. So it doesn't really matter where the series was played or who it was against. I think it all builds up. Personally, you know, in England, we've always felt the Ashes is the spectacular, as it were. But actually, I think one thing the administrators have got wrong the last few years is they played a few too many Ashes series too close together. And so actually for quite a few people, it hasn't diminished it, but it's taken away that slightly special nature that it always had. The other thing, of course, is that an Ashes series at home in England is very different to an Ashes series away in Australia. Again, the same with India, England. So we always have a better chance at home than we do away. Having said that, baseball has now been, 3-4 years in the making. The management team is very steady. The hierarchy of English cricket seems a lot steadier than it's ever been. Ben Stokes has now been at the helm for a long time. And we have some really interesting young players coming up. So a home series here, followed by an Ashes away, is probably the right way round to build that confidence and get the team together. But you never know in Australia, you know, it could be 5-0, it could be 3-2. It probably won't be 3-2. There'll be some draws in there somewhere. But yeah, we could scrape home. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. But thank you so much, Mr. James, for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you. And I wish England all the best for the next 2 series.
Thank you, Sid. And to India as well. It'll be good fun, whatever happens.
Thank you so much. So that was Mr. James Watson. And once again, a final look at the picturesque Milton Abbey cricket ground. And from here, I bid you goodbye until the next episode of the SNS Cricket Diaries. Take care. Ciao.